Exactly. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not everything, but for me, it was a big thing because I was that guy. I was the best in my gym. I was the best there, the best here. Now coming here, like you kind of get to see the standard, and you're never gonna have a day where you're just dominant. Like nobody has a day in extreme that they're number one all the time. You know.
March 12th this week, man. It's your UFC debut, man. How do you feel, man? It's fight week. Do you feel any kind of undue pressure? You know what I mean? Heading into this fight week, you have this undefeated record. A lot of people are going to talk about that.
Yeah, but I always have my undefeated record, so like this is something I've dealt with my whole career, so it's fine. I know it's the UFC, but I kind of went through that with the Contender Series, which is fighting in the same venue, and as far as I was concerned, that was a UFC fight, also, So no added pressure, to be honest with you. I always put pressure on myself, but nothing added.
Okay. And you mentioned the Contender Series. It must be the perfect way to kind of get your feet wet, I guess, before actually having an actual UFC fight, right?
Especially now, exactly. Especially now with the fights being in the Apex, you know. Yes, the perfect introduction. I felt like I already had my debut.
How did that feel, fighting in the Apex? Because it's not, it's like fighting in a studio, like you're on a TV show or something.
Yeah, it's very weird. No, it's I wouldn't say weird, but it's very different to fighting on a fight show. But I don't know. My relationship with fighting is very different than everybody else's, from what I've heard. And for me, I go into tunnel vision. It could be in front of a billion people. It could be in front of nobody. Like it's just fighting for me. So it's a level playing field everywhere.
Your relationship with fighting, why is it different from everybody else?
I feel like the way I think about it, I a lot of people see fighting as business. For me, it's always been personal. Something I've always liked to do, but fighting is very personal. There's a lot of as much as people want to say is like they're trying to just get paid and all of this. There's more to it. Like if I don't get paid, I can't pay rent. If I don't fight, I get half. If I don't win, I get half my paycheck. All the sacrifices I put myself through just to fight this one opponent. People don't understand. There's 15 minutes of fighting, but how much preparation is there? Like this is all very personal stuff. And at the end of the day, he's trying to hit me in my face. He's trying to punch me in my face. So that's very personal. I take all these things very personal.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, there's so much preparation that goes into that 15 minutes, and then there's a lot of impact from the result.
Sorry about
All
that.
good, all good.
There's a lot of what? Sorry, you said?
Like there's a lot of impact from the result of the fight,
Exactly.
actually, too. Like you said,
So
paying rent and everything.
yeah, so like the thing is with people when they see fighting on TV, and I used to be one of these guys, because growing up I was watching the UFC and I was a fan for a long time. But we just focus on the fights. They don't understand like these are people. So even like things like when judges rob fighters of victories, it's like you don't understand. Like yeah, people say, oh, that was a robbery, that and that, but it's legitimately a robbery if you think about it. You get paid half your money if you don't win, and all that preparation, all that time, you kind of lost. So if it was a decision that you're supposed to win and the judges take it from you, it is like a robbery.
It is. It is a complete robbery. We've seen it the last couple of weeks. Some crazy decisions inside that Apex. Man, I don't know what we can do as like me as someone who covers the sport, you as a fighter. It seems like there's nothing we can really do except for just like complain about it, online.
I feel like we just keep complaining. Finally, the right person will hear it. But yeah, it's hard. It is hard to see because I know what it takes to prepare for these fights. Like I said, people at home don't understand, but I know what it takes to prepare for these fights, and for it to be taken from you just like that, especially if you deserved it. Like it's a hard pill to swallow.
Definitely. And your debut opponent, Trevin Jones, man, he's a guy that has been in some exciting fights. What are your thoughts on him in the matchup?
I think Trevin's a fantastic fighter. Like I've said this in every interview I've done so far. I don't feel like he represented himself well in his last fight. I don't feel like that's his skill set. I know the weight cut played a big factor. I know this. I'm not deluded. I'm not gonna go into a fight thinking, oh, because if that Trevin turns up, dead man, 100%, and he knows it too. But I know that Trevor's not going to turn up. I know it's going to be a better version of Trevin Jones because the weight cut wouldn't have affected him that much. So yeah, and I like the fight, man. It's a banging fight. He's a banger. He likes to finish. I don't think he'll be wanting to finish me. I think he's going to try and take me down and stuff. But it's okay. We're prepared for all of that, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned the last fight, and like understanding like what went into that fight rather than just looking at the performance. I think that's so important, right?
Yeah, because I don't want to have a false sense of security, like of okay, this is what that person was like. Like first of all, basing it on somebody's last fight, I'm not the biggest fan because people can always improve, you know. Um, but at the same time, that in particular, come on, man, like 3 weight cuts in a month or however many weight cuts there were, that will have an effect on you, you know.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
would know better than anyone.
exactly. I'm just being truthful because I would know myself. You know, I can play mind games here and say this and that about Trevin, but I know what he went through in there. But again, it's not going to change anything. I've prepared for him as if he was a world champion. I think he's had a world title before in I don't know what.
PXC.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a good opponent, and I'm looking forward to fighting him. That's it.
You made the move to Las Vegas, and I believe you're training mostly at Extreme Couture. How has that transition been for you?
It's been great. I've always wanted to train in the states, and I've always wanted to have like some of the guys that I'm watching on TV. They're my training partners now, you know, and it's always great to have, and they're my sparring partners, and I can get a great gauge of where I am and the knowledge here, like with Dewey Cooper, um, Jake Shields, and all the coaches at Extreme Couture, Eric Nixick, Dennis Davis, all of these guys. It's just a great place for me to be at this point of my career, especially because I've got so much to learn.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal group of coaches that you got there, right? Those 4 names, just those 4 names, it's incredible. And you mentioned that, you get to gauge your talent level, your skill level at Extreme Couture. How important is that? Because sometimes if you train in a smaller gym, sometimes you could have a delusion of like how good you are, right? And then you run into a freight train inside that cage.
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not everything, but for me, it was a big thing because I was that guy. I was the best in my gym. I was the best there, the best here. Now coming here, like you kind of get to see the standard, and you're never gonna have a day where you're just dominant. Like nobody has a day in extreme that they're number one all the time, you know. And I think you need that, and I think you need that training environment. Personally, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong because there are people that have done it from smaller gyms, so I'm not gonna knock that method. But for me, it makes sense, you know.
How hard is that? You go to the gym and you're doing something you love, but it's hard as hell to do it. And you go in there and you fail, right? Guys that you were beating up last week, they're beating you up this week. And then you got to pick yourself up like mentally, man. It must be it must play games with you a little bit. Does it?
That's a great question and great point you made there because it really does. It's the hardest thing. Personally, that's the hardest thing about fighting for me. You know, it's like sometimes shit just doesn't make sense. Sometimes your body doesn't respond the way it should, and sometimes people make adjustments. So what was working last week doesn't work this week, and it's so hard, and it can affect your confidence. But again, you just gotta. It's all about trusting the process at the end of the day. That's all I can say. Trust the process, and it will happen. You know, like it's okay.
The UFC PI, man, I think you've taken some tests out there, man. Have they told you some stuff about yourself, like your body that you didn't know before?
Nah, they told me I was a monster, and I already knew I was a monster. Jay. So, yeah, so it's great. We've been doing tests, and I've been following their program and their regime, and I just can't wait to just put it out all on Fight Night because I've never had nothing, no science behind me like that. You know, like that. This is some next level stuff. It really is. You know, and I'm excited to see. I know it's made a big difference in my training, but at the end of the day, it's about fight night. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and looks like most of your fights they end on the ground. Are you expecting to take Jones out the same way, or do you see other options of finishing the fight?
So when you watch my fights, it's never me actively trying to take somebody down. You know, I don't really shoot for a takedown. Not that I can't. And some in my fights, the opposition that I've faced so far, it somehow always ends on the ground because they want to take me down. You know, and I feel like I'm the better wrestler in the exchanges, the better grappler. And I feel like this fight is gonna go similar because I don't think Trevin's gonna stand with me. I think he's gonna end up taking me down, trying to take me down. And if we end up on the ground, I'm happy. I'm cool. This is an MMA fight. I'm good to go wherever, to be honest with you. And and I know he's expecting that. At the same time, like I'm expecting a takedown from him, but I should be expecting a takedown from anyone. It's MMA. It's ain't kickboxing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. A couple more questions outside of the fight. This one is about MMA fans. You know, it's a unique sport, so you have unique fans. What do MMA fans obsess about too much that fans really don't care about, or fighters really don't care about?
Um, records, records. I would say is the biggest one. Like, look, you look at Trevin. He's 13-7. Like, what type of record is that? To be honest with you, like if you look at, but then you look at the guys he's fought and his skill set, he's a good fighter, you know. And then you look at my record, I'm undefeated. And you look at the people I fought, like fans, they care more about the record, but at the end of the day, the fighters know that that stuff really doesn't matter. It's about how good you are and how good you perform, you know. You can't really gauge from the guys I fought that how good I really am. But at the same time, I've been putting them away the way I should be putting them away, and nobody can argue that I haven't. So based on that, you can probably see my level. But I would say that
MMA math is so easy. You know, math is not easy, but MMA math is easy, right?
it's the easiest thing in the world. Have you seen that? There was this one on Instagram, something going around, and I think they said John Dodson or something was the greatest of all time, and they had him beating guys all the way up to Fedor Emelianenko. Like it would be like I think John Dodson beat Dillashaw, and then Dillashaw beat a featherweight, and then a featherweight beat a lightweight, you know, and stuff like that. And it went up to Fedor Emelianenko. So technically, John Dodson beat Fedor Emelianenko. Like you can't do MMA match like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it
It's just
is. It's hilarious to watch people kind of like justify those things.
yeah.
PTSD in combat sports, not CTE, but PTSD from like injuries or weight cuts or damage taken in a fight, and even sometimes a loss, right, can have an effect on you. Have you ever experienced this and overcome it or seen it around you?
I've definitely seen it around me. To be honest with you, this is a brutal sport, and so all of these things, the weight cuts and the fights and all of that, they're very extreme scenarios. And but more so is because so much goes into this. People get a lot of traumatic experiences just personally. So every time they hear about weight cuts, they're like their body starts feeling different. Or anytime they hear about an injury or even that body, like for example a shoulder or a neck, they start like cringing a little bit and stuff. And I'm like, and that's only because. Sorry, did you lose me? Am I still? Okay, cool. Um, and that's only, and that comes from that. And I've experienced a lot of training partners that have dealt with that. Me personally, not really. I have my trauma from some stuff, but nothing in particular. I still nothing really like grosses me out like that. To be honest with you.
All right, cool. One last thing. Crypto has become this huge thing intertwined with MMA, with combat sports. What is your take on crypto, and would you ever accept like your fight purse in cryptocurrency?
For me, cash will never like be ruled out. You know what I'm trying to say? Cash is always the best. Like that's my opinion, anyways. I'm not saying crypto's not bad because I know people have made money of it. I just don't know much about it. You know, I do like the idea of it, and it's something I do want to get into eventually. But at the end of the day, nothing beats cash. Cash is cash. Like cash will never expire. Like that currency will always be there. You know.
Is it about being able to touch something, you know what I mean, that makes a difference?
I don't know. I don't know. But it's just Nah, yeah, I think that too, having it visible in front of you, rather than, I don't know, some having a tool or a gadget to have it around you.
I guess it's just the future, man. We'll eventually have to get into it. Me
Yeah,
myself too. I'm not really a crypto guy. I just want to ask people about it because
yeah.
everybody has a different take on it. They have a different view on
I'm
everything, so it's interesting.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not
Hmm.
opposed to it. I just don't know so much about it, and I don't like talking about things I don't know much about. But I do know about cash. So,
Well, you're gonna be making some cash, man, this weekend. UFC Fight Night Las Vegas. Javid, thank you so much for the time, and good luck on the rest of the week, and all the best on the fight, man.
appreciate it, man. Let's go. I'm ready to go, man. Almost time.